So welcome you all to this student forum session. It is a great pleasure to have you here in this activity that is organized by the student forum, an amazing team, group of ISME members, graduate students and early career professors. So it is a great pleasure to resume this activity for all of you, ISME student members. And I hope this session helps you a little bit in your path as professionals, academics, as part of your path within the academia. Thank you, Shri and Raya, for allowing this to have this session. Thanks for waking or staying too late, sorry, for this session. So it would be wonderful if you're able to turn on the camera to see you. Thank you. Okay, it's lovely to see your faces. Sometimes it is a little bit impersonal not to see your faces. So if you're not able to turn it on, it's okay. So thank you and thanks for being here. Good. This session, I want to share a little bit of my own path in this, in my career, in my professional career, and I hope that it helps you a little bit. I will share my screen, but by the way, I wish to listen to your comments, listen to your experiences as well. You're free to use the chat if you prefer to do so, but at least to have a couple of verbal communications across each of the questions that I included in my presentation. I hope you're not that shy to share your experiences and your thoughts. I will share my screen. And just confirming, you can see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Good. I called this session Building Your Own Professional Path. And sometimes when we get into the academia and when we are at school, we're trying to accommodate our schemata based on what we see in our professors, in our teachers, our mentors. So it is very important for us to try to find our own path, our own way to go through in our professional lives, as it is in our musical careers as well, and as music educators. So that's the intention of the presentation. I'm Patricia Gonzalez. That's my short name. I'm current president of ISME in this biennium. And first of all, I want you to think about what's your professional goal, or what have been those professional goals that you are still aiming to accomplish. Sometimes we might think that this is an easy question. Sometimes it is not. So just think about this, and I will come back to your thoughts about this. Just a little bit of my background. And I hope this picture shows what it has been mine. Sometimes we have several options. We are able to decide, make decisions about our professional paths. Sometimes we're not, and we have to take risks and make decisions. I was initially a computer science major. So for 2 years, I was struggling because I wanted to be a performer, and it was a decision that took me 2 years to make. And after that, I moved to my major. I changed majors. I shifted to a bachelor's degree in arts. It was not called as a music performance degree. it was a mix of everything. So my degree says arts, uh, specializing in music. After that, I went to pursue a master's degree in business administration. It seems like a crazy path, as you can imagine. But that was the way I took to graduate from my bachelor's degree. So at that time, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing all this? And it was hard for me to understand how all these decisions were connected, and how I can blend those skills that I was supposed to develop during that path. So I had some light after I got a Fulbright grant to oh sorry to go to the United States to do a doctoral degree in music education. And initially, I wanted to be a master's degree in music education because I didn't have a degree on that. And I see that Ivory is raising her hand. Okay, yes.
Sorry, it was accidental. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry.
Okay, no problem. You're free to raise your hands and make comments. Okay, so I was able to finally try to make sense of that. I got the Fulbright grant. I was there as legally, of course, in the US. And I had the opportunity to attend the University of Illinois to one of the music education programs, more prestigious for the people who graduate from this program. And I was very fortunate to be advised by Professor Gary McPherson, past ISME president and honorary life member. And I'm sure you have heard about his research. So I was very fortunate to be there, and it was when I finally heard about ISME. He was current president at the time. I had no idea that ISME existed. So this kind of opportunity made me realize how I was in a balloon when I was in my own country, where music education was not that developed at that time. So this was something that opened my eyes, and I wonder whether in your path you have experienced something like that. And I would love to for you to make comments, because you will be more able to go through the chat. So all of you share your experiences as well, even if I cannot read all the messages. So for the sake of you to share your experiences among all of you as well. So I wonder, and this is part of the first question that I have for you. How did you get to where you are today? How was your path? Was it directly? Was it a straight line, or was not that way? I would love to hear one or two of you, if you want to share. You might have an image of how was your path. Who wants to share? And the others can write it down in the chat. Crystal, please go ahead.
Thank you. Really appreciate you just having this session to be able to connect with everybody. The first time I heard of ISME was not really until, I want to say, my master's, and I chose not to leave the classroom and come back for a summer master's program at Florida State, because leaving the classroom was super scary. But having mentors that were in ISME, ultimately I was like, I have to look into this. This is something that, connecting with outside of, the bubble, the academic bubble in Florida specifically. And after going back to school to teach for a few years, I was like, I think it's time to go back full time. And that's when I realized how important it is to connect. I just speaking to your question, my progress through this journey has definitely not been linear. It's been jumping around. It's been trial and error. It's been, and I feel like now I'm starting to realize, like, this is what I meant to do. I'm on the right path. So I, again, appreciate you having this session. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Crystal, for sure. That experience as well. And if it was that revealing for you, as you shared, also share that experience to your to your friends and classmates, because it is important to be connected with our community and our global community. So thanks. Anyone else to share? If you can raise your hand, because I'm not able to see you. So please see if you can use the digital hand. So I don't see anyone. Okay, well, I will continue then. You might have that in mind. Perhaps you want to even draw a line about your own path. And I encourage you, if you are more comfortable writing and not typing, you could do so as well. That's visually more engaging, at least for me. So next one. What motivated you to go to graduate school? There could be many reasons, and you can share those reasons in the chat. This was part of my doctoral study, motivation. So it has been very interesting to see, not only through my path, but through others. And I have investigated this in a previous project. What have been those factors that motivate you? It could be a better position, a better job, a better income. And I want to see what you're putting there. You wanted to teach future music teachers. Thank you, Crystal. Anyone else? Okay, Susanna, mine was pretty straight when I was 18. Then the director of the place I work now, so I would be a good fit. Wonderful. So you usually do that because we want to develop our careers, our professional lives as well, because it impacts our professional lives as well. Because Marianne, you liked doing research. That's great. Sometimes we don't like to do research. I was scared about writing a dissertation in English when I was not used to write at all. So it's great that you were engaged because of that. Going back to Crystal's comment, teaching future music teachers, sometimes that's also influenced because we might have struggles when we were students. So we will also aim to have good music teachers as well. And on the positive side, you might have very good mentors and you want to follow that path again. Thank you, Mimi. Yes, we want to know more about the benefits of music education and share the words to others. Thank you all. As you can see, there could be many factors that pushes us to pursue a graduate degree, but they can be intrinsic or extrinsic, but still, I want to congratulate you for making that choice and to be, I guess, most of you or all of you have been in graduate school or are. So good. The next questions, well, It's what motivates you to pursue a career in the academia. Not necessarily getting a graduate degree implies that you want to pursue a career in the academia, but certainly it's the most common path for those graduating. So that could be also related to, of course, what you have already responded. And what I want to focus on right now is about the kind of skills that you need to achieve that goal, particularly within the academia. Do you want to take a few minutes to think about those skills? And I open to the microphone to those of you who want to share what are those skills. Freestyle research.
Yes, research has become a passion of mine for sure. I never thought that it would.
Oh, it wasn't mine either. So good. Research. Coping with loss of sleep. Who has experienced that loss of sleep? Susanna, yeah, you do. Do you want to expand on that, Susanna?
No, it's just that when you are doing your PhD, besides having a full-time job, you have to reduce your sleep time, and you have to learn to build up some resilience to loss of sleep.
That's right, and that's what Ricardo and what Ivory, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, I wrote
Ivory.
resilience.
Do you want to share that? Have you
Yes,
developed your resilience?
Yes, I think especially today, and it's very competitive environment, and you need to be okay with, for example, not getting accepted on every conference or every presentation or every activity that you want to participate, or not. It's not about losing or winning, but just managing to cope with all the challenges connected to your research and additional tasks as a researcher and PhD student. So I think resilience and being straightforward with the expectations, what you have for yourself and what the expectations are of the surrounding society about you. So resilience is a good skill to have, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, it's very important. And yeah, we need to get used to those experiences, as you said, when we are not accepted. And that also relates to this notion of self-efficacy, how we strengthen our self-efficacy, our sense of competence. Sometimes when we are getting some negative responses to what we are doing, so the resilience is such an important skill. Thank you, Ivory. Positive mindset, energetic, self-compassion. Those are definitely necessary to go through graduate school and to also to get into the academia and along the way. So, yeah, she's also saying 100% resilience. Yes, we all need to. Okay, thanks. I will start. Some of those are already part of what you said, research and scholarship. If we go into a graduate degree, we're supposed to be getting those skills to know how to do research, to do it in a systematic and rigorous way, and also to be part of the academic environment, the scholarship, how to do our best in that part, in the part of what we need in the academia. Teaching and pedagogy. It is something that we cannot forget. Sometimes we decide on one path, but we're still in many environments. We have to teach, and we have to put those skills into place. If it is in basic education, if you're getting a doctoral degree, you're supposed to go to university to teach. So that continues all the way. And if you want to do research about music education, you need to do and to be mindful about teaching in many educational contexts. Leadership and service. I will go into detail with this one, as I will ask the others as well. Communication and collaboration. That's such an important part of what you build also in graduate school. I want to share an experience when I was in Illinois. All of us, all my peers, classmates were struggling as well with the challenges of a doctoral degree. And we were working by ourselves and trying to appear like we were good enough and that we were experts. Until one day, one of my friends got into my office. He knocked on the door and he asked me for whether we could work together, whether we can study together for one stats class. So we started that in a room, the Zimmerman room, and that building is not there anymore. But anyway, we got together, the two of us, and then the others join us that semester. So we were building that collaboration and that community. So I invite you to also not be shy and to acknowledge your own weaknesses and your strengths, so that in a collaborative environment you can establish those networks and the future collaborations. Adaptability and lifelong learning. Adaptability, as you mentioned, resilience, how we adapt to the expectations, of others, of your professors, of what are the expectations of your family and your colleagues as well. Administration and organization. And this is something when I realized that I was connecting my dots about that master's degree in business administration. In administration, it is not called business administration, in fact, but it was in administration. So you at this point might be also aware of that. I was not that aware during my doctoral degree, I have to admit. And something very, very important, musical skills. Do you want to share something about that? About musical skills? Have you been able to still play or sing while you're doing your graduate degrees? What has been your experience? Who wants to share that? No? You don't even recall what's singing with chamber choir? Good. Ivory, please go on.
Yes, I think it is very like I'm now gonna play in a month Saint-Saëns piano concerto with orchestra, and it's a big event for me, and I'm happy. But now I started my PhD in September, so I don't know how it will go after this event because it was already planned and with the orchestra agreed. Because it is really, yeah, the time management really comes here with musical performance abilities, because even with some gigs, you need to say no because you are busy doing other things. But definitely it is important to kind of keep going, keep trying, keep having in life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big challenge, and I will share my story about that. Marianne, what you're saying, I play less than I did in undergrad, but I think I have a better relationship with music. Music, good. I do wish I had more time to play, though. Mhm. When I was in my doctoral degree, Professor McPherson, when he was aware that I was participating in the choir concerts in Illinois. He told me, Patricia, you need to put this a little bit aside. And I had to make that tough decision. And it was right at that point. But when I got my degree and I got my university position here at the University of Chihuahua, I didn't have much opportunity to do singing or playing music, unfortunately. And then I was, some people was calling me that I was uh, a musician of a desk. I'm trying to translate in a better way that. So I was not a real musician because I was playing on a desk in a computer. So after that, I have been trying a little more, but it's something that you will you will be dealing with how to balance that career as a musician. But because you still need be good as a musician, if you want to understand the challenges of musicians, if you're training music performers or future music teachers that will need to engage in their students in music learning. So thanks for sharing. What about research? And this comment was given to me after I did my PhD and I was doing a research stay in Australia. Write as much as you can. You need to build, if you want to build a career as a researcher, you need to write as much as you can. I have not followed that advice as much as I wanted, but it's something for you to consider. And it is very important to also build your path as a researcher, playing solo, playing by yourselves, or doing this with others. So both are very important. You don't want to be a second or third authors of all your publications. You also You also want to be the first author. So that's one of the skills that you need to strengthen. Find your niche. That's another advice I got in Australia. What is your niche? Have you found that? Do you have one already? Who wants? Crystal? Yes? No?
Yes. My niche, I didn't know how I was going to discover it, but I discovered it is timbre and timbre research and perception cognition. There's just so many opportunities for interdisciplinary collaboration across various fields in music. Most especially, I would say, a recent conference I went to that there was lots of conversation across disciplines, music therapy, music education, and application in, quote, real research labs, right? For these kinds of applications, things that we already know that music is so beneficial for A, B, C. So for me, that's, going to those conferences in person and being able to interact with real people and see what they do on the day to day and what sorts of things we have in common really energized me as a researcher and made me come back excited to finish my dissertation.
Wonderful. Great. Okay, that's important to find that niche. And someone who told me this didn't follow that path, by the way. He's very well recognized as a researcher. So you have to be good at many niches if you want to be, and if you're that brilliant to do so. And it doesn't mean that you're not brilliant if you find your one single niche, of course, but it's important for you to do what is comfortable for you in your professional path, in your professional journey. Okay, diversify your research methods. This is something that it's more like a recommendation. What do you say, Crystal, for example? Okay, what's real research? And there has been this debate between qualitative, quantitative research. At one point, quantitative research was the research, and later on, qualitative was the one. And at this point, I would say that if you don't know how to mix those and to be a mixed methods research as well, because it's not necessarily just if you know quantitative and you know qualitative research, you know how to do mixed methods. That's not the case. So it is important, and that's a recommendation I give to you if you accept it. Try to put a foot in each of those. Even if you want to focus more in one, if that's your strength, you can also try other methods as well. And this is always developing. Juan Manuel, sorry that you have to leave the session. Thanks for joining. A great pleasure. And you're from Mexico. Great. I hope we have time to talk later. Okay. So, Susana, build a toolkit of methods to find the best for the task and research question. Exactly. That's what you need to decide. It's based on the research question you have, on that phenomenon that you want to study, and not to do qualitative research or quantitative research just because that's what you know. So thanks, Susanna, for that comment as well. Something important as well is grants and funding. How to do this. It's time consuming, but it is also an expectation in many countries that you know how to apply for grants, to bring money to the universities, to fund your own projects, because always money is a limited resource. So you have to deal with that administrative task as well. How, if you get a grant, how you manage, how you administer those funds to do what you promised to do in that proposal. So it is very important to develop those skills as well. It might be a little different in some other countries. For example, I was not very into this activity initially in my early years as an academic, but it is getting a request in many universities in Mexico, and that's something that is, it's you have to do it in your universities in other countries, as in the US, in UK or Australia or Brazil as well. So it's something that you have to also be prepared to do. About conferences, a space for you to disseminate your work, and also to do networking, to network with your colleagues. And that's very important. And you have already mentioned about this. So you are already aware of what you're required to do. And that also relates to your niche. What's your research interest? And Chris already shared hers. And for you, if you're writing down your thoughts, and perhaps you do have very clear in your dissertation, and it is not a big issue for you right now, but it is important, as I suggested previously, to find that niche and to continue with new research questions, with new research interests related to that niche as well. About teaching and pedagogy, I was telling you that you will also require to do this, to continue doing teaching at different, not only at the university, the conservatoires, but also in other contexts as well. So you will need to require to develop skills, designing, delivering effective courses as well. So it's not only about developing research skills. You, of course, if you had a degree in music education, in your bachelor's degree, in your master's degree, you know all, or most of all, the basics to do it accurately. But sometimes we don't follow that path. As I showed you, my degree was not in music education specifically. I had only a few classes in music pedagogy. The master's degree had nothing to do with it. So we still learning more and more along the way, and we need to try new things. How we improve our teaching, if we want to apply student-centered teaching methods, if we need to develop curricula, we need to know what needs to be there to have a successful course and curriculum. Integrating technology and digital tools and assessing student learning. Shri, please go ahead.
Hi, I just thought that if I explain this now when it's relevant, if you don't mind. For the first 3 points on the slide, it's very interesting because for me, my situation was that I was sitting here in India doing an online course from Boston University, and the materials, the course was the reading, the literature was very Eurocentric. It was so some of the methods, they made sense to me. A lot of it did not make sense to me. So I found myself that I had to apply, something that is relevant for my students, for my student-centered, for my situation. And my curricula, I could not follow the curricula that was suggested in my literature for my context. I could not apply that. And so I had to kind of improvise and develop something that was suited to my own context. So that's something I did learn a lot. I learned what would work, and then I absorbed that. But then I also said, oh, no, this is not going to work. So I need to improvise. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Shri. And that's very, very important. How you transfer the knowledge you get in other contexts, and to apply those based on the specific needs of those students you have. And it is something that you might be aware it is very commonly addressed recently about decolonization of the music education, indigenizing the music education. And sometimes, if we're trained in the Western classical tradition, as many of us have been trained, it is difficult to even cross that line. And once I was told that there was an open position for teaching in a high school to lead a mariachi band. And just because I was Mexican. And I thought I would love to, but I was not trained. I just know how to sing mariachi music, folk music, traditional music, Mexican music, but I don't know how to play the guitar that well. I don't play the trumpet. I don't play the violin that well. So, but anyway, despite I couldn't apply for that job, I'm still pushing at my university how we are able to teach our students in our own musical traditions when we're still pushing for classical training or a jazz training. And I have had these conversations with my colleagues in the jazz department. There's one of them here. Thanks for joining, Roberto. And we're teaching for jazz, and jazz is not our musical tradition. So we need to expand and find ways to put these musical worlds together, considering where we're teaching, what are musical traditions, and to value our own musical traditions. So thank you for sharing that, Shri. Okay, and now, what are your teaching goals right now? I wonder, based on what I have been presenting to you, how you can improve your teaching and what you want to accomplish through your teaching. Is anyone willing to share? Crystal, everyone needs to become a generalist and find the skills that underneath every style and tradition. That's so right. Do you want to expand on that, Crystal, or anyone else? I cannot hear you. Sorry.
Sorry, got to push the mute button. I feel like that potentially this is, at least in my own small viewpoint and circle, like kind of how we might combat, the lowering number of teachers that we have, like the decline of teacher. I feel like if we all become a generalist in some way and can examine skills that cross every subject, like potentially that will kind of open up the opportunity. I think music teachers do it best, to bring, we teach, at least in the elementary classroom, which is the majority of my experience, we teach all of the kids in the school, right? And so having some way to connect to all of them is not just going to happen in one tradition. It's not going to happen in one style. It's going to be to diversify, so to speak, and meet those children's needs. So anyway, I just wanted to say let's expound on that generalist. I feel like that's potentially an opportunity for growth in teaching in music.
Yes, I agree. Although, Shri, you're saying that this is a Pandora's box. Yes.
It's just that I feel like, I get you, Crystal. I agree with that, but where I am right now, people are so obsessed with, the pure classical arts. Oh man, it's impossible to fight them.
That's right. I have experienced that as well. And you will experience that in perhaps many contexts. And sometimes it is because we do what we were trained to do. So we're teaching the way we were taught, and we perpetuate that model. But hopefully you're the new generation, and you will be able or try to make a different, a new wave where we can still be consistent to the discourse about music education, about meaningful and intercultural music education that we taught in the academia. And sometimes we do have that, those two worlds, the academia, the research, what the research show us, and we don't necessarily apply that into practice, because we're not at all contexts. We are making those recommendations, but those in the school, in the classrooms, are not necessarily hearing what we are recommending as researchers or music education specialists. And that's a challenge. It might not change in several decades, or we push to make it happen, at least in our context. Something to decide. Susana says, get through the semester with something useful to give to the students. And that's something that Crystal also, and I'm combining both. Sometimes we are focused on the content. Here in Mexico, we talk about educational models based on objectives or based on competencies, despite John Dewey was talking about competencies and practical approach to music learning. But when we are so attached to that thing that we need to teach content instead of competencies, we're still dealing with, you have to learn this classical repertoire instead of, you have to develop these abilities that you can transfer to other musical contexts and musical repertoire. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for being here as well. Are we running out of time? Shri, we do have 90 minutes, right? Just to be clear. Or 1 hour?
We said 1 hour with some Q&A time.
Okay, but we're doing the Q&A as well.
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay, good.
We're good in time. We're good with time.
Great, thank you, Shri. Leadership and service, what this means. Serving on academic committees within your institution and outside the institution as well. My position right now is service as well. It's not work, so we need to spend time serving our profession as well. Serving in committees. Next week, I have a doctoral defense for one student in Malaysia, despite I'm going to be here in Mexico. So we're helping others in our community. And it is important for you to be engaged in those activities. Mentoring students, supervising theses or dissertations, although it might be considered teaching as well, a teaching activity as well, it is part of your academic, your workload as a university professor. So do that in a wise way so that we change the mindsets that we were talking about just before. Engaging in community outreach and partnerships. And this is a big issue for doctoral research projects. Sometimes we don't find participants, and we want to do a study in community programs. We need to be there. We need to engage with those community programs as well to strengthen partnerships with other researchers, with other research groups, to be involved in all contexts to do your work. And a contribution to professional associations. So that's why I'm very grateful, and I want to congratulate the Student Forum for what the work they are doing to engage you all, and for your individual efforts as well to be in these activities, to be involved. And I encourage you to continue that always. And this is a tough question. How can you contribute to the music education community? A similar question I got from my advisor, my doctoral advisor, Dr. McPherson. And I won't tell you what happened after he made the question, but he told me, what would be your contribution in in 30 more years, what would be your contribution to music education? And I could not respond that question, but I said, and I felt, I don't know if I said it or not, but I felt like I was just able to finish my dissertation, to defend it without with the regular trouble that anyone passed through, and to visualize that, what's going to be the contribution. I'm still trying to find that what's going to be my contribution. So I don't know if you have already that very clear. We never know what's going to happen in the future, but how can you contribute to the profession? Shri, thank you. She's giving us the answers. Share the work that you do in the classroom with other teachers, even general teachers, classroom teachers. Share your problems so that others may learn what didn't work.
Hello, Patricia. It's
Yes.
Mimi here. Yeah, I would like
Oh.
to say, I would like to say
Yes.
something. Yeah, for my
Yes, please.
experience, I think to disseminate the information or our progress to achieve the academic journey, I think it's very important for young generation and other person who interested in music education to get involved to this community and to disseminate more information and share the experience and get more people to understand the professional organization like ISME and so on. I think it's really useful for me myself to contribute to the music education community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi, for sharing that. That's very wise and very mindful. So thank you for sharing this with your with everyone
I
here.
actually received very benefit and gather a lot of information during my master's and PhD journey. So that's why I encourage my students, and today there are also another school teachers from Taiwan to join this forum. So I think it's really important to let people see the organization and to share the information among the communities.
Yeah. Yes, and that's a big responsibility. Yeah, Mimi. Yeah. Oh, Mimi is your instructor. Ming. Thanks for being here, and thanks, Mimi, for inviting your students as well. Yeah. By speaking about it at conferences, what you said, Tri, yeah. Encourage people to go after their curiosity and share with others what we do. Right. Thank you, Roberto. And that's particularly relevant if you're looking for a research topic. If you're not interested in that topic, if you are given that topic, it will be painful to do research on it. So follow your curiosity, as Roberto is suggesting as well. Okay. I'm just reading some of the other comments. I will back to you as well. Okay. Community and collaboration, but Rosalina is asking me about the shocking trend about disconnect and preaching for emotional intelligence in music education. And that's a very important point as well to consider, and to how to be consistent with what we say and how we help others based on our values and what we think about music education. So yeah, that's also a challenge, Rosalina, and it's quite difficult to try to do everything to do good for everyone when we do have many responsibilities as well, and try to accomplish our academic goals, our professional goals, and also our personal goals. So that's part of the challenges that we need to struggle with, even as leaders or university professors, practitioners, etc. And that's why we cannot work by ourselves. That's very important to find a support group to work with. Networking with scholars and practitioners, collaborating on interdisciplinary and international projects. That opens a huge, wide range of opportunities. Writing clear and persuasive grant proposals, and public speaking and presentation skills. And we might struggle to do this based on our own personalities, but we need to make an effort because it is part of how we can improve our work. How would you strengthen your communication and collaboration skills? And that's something to continue try to grow. And adaptability. We're talking about adaptability and lifelong learning. How we adapt to current policy changes, how we adapt to new pedagogical approaches, how we embrace cultural diversity in music education. And this is quite a challenge and in trouble times we are living right now. And I don't want to get into detail, but as the music educators, we are committed to do our best, and we are committed to try to apply new pedagogical approaches, or we try to use new technologies. We sometimes need to adapt to new policy changes. As I was telling you about the context here in Mexico, we changed from a competence-based education that I was aiming to develop competencies to a model in which it is a project-based curricula, in which we don't have mathematics or Spanish as individual subjects. They disappeared, and now we're working on community projects, school projects. The whole world changed. And the music educators, the classroom teachers had to adapt to that. So we need to continue to learn what's going on. If we are training music educators, we need to know what's happening in basic education to train them according to the new trends and the new curricula. So that's important as well. Administration and organization, managing academic programs and budgets, handling course scheduling and accreditation requirements when you're at the university and your programs need to be accredited, balancing research, teaching, and service commitments. So you can see that this administration was the point that couldn't connect it well in my professional life, but I have now to relearn to relearn those skills as well. Balancing research, teaching, and service commitments. This is taken from PDH Comics. You might relate to this if you're already in the academia, and not in all the contexts. For example, you are supposed to do teaching, to do research, and to do service, and that's how they actually spend their time, supposedly in this graphic. And what departments expect them to spend their time: 175% in research, less teaching and less service. That's the joke, of course. But that could be in other cases, in other countries. That might be the case perhaps in the US. It's not here in Mexico. We're supposed to be teaching in undergraduate. It's not necessarily that that much push from our institutions to do research as in other places. But still, this graphic shows the discrepancies about what we do, what others expect us to do, and what we would love to do, or what we like to spend our time as professors. And that last circle, don't tell me what to do. That relates also to our own path, what we want to do. And it also suggests some autonomy. We are always willing for some autonomy, still engaged, still committed to our work as university professors, but to have some flexibility. And that's something that I'm struggling right now. Since last semester, we're required to put our finger to check entrance and for our classes, teaching classes. And as a researcher, you spend a lot of time not teaching courses, but doing research, and that's part of our work. So, and this is the struggle, because work is only one part. What about our social life, relationships, friends, financial stability, our community, health, self-care, family, sports, spiritual world as well? What's going on with that while we're doing our graduate degrees or while we are working in the academia? So it is very, very important to try to keep a balance, but I don't know if that's just a dream that never comes true. But particularly this picture shows, but this is not only for women, it also for any person in the academia. We have, or in the professional life as well, even if it is not in the academia, how we work, do our best in our work, but how we are the best of us in our family, in our social context as well, so that we avoid this depression, mental illness, and unfortunately that's very common. And we need to be aware of our emotional and mental state to stop and to find ways to relax and to prioritize our goals, our professional and personal goals as well. So I invite you to be very careful about this. If you have suffered this, I did last year terribly, and it took me a while to recover. So for you, be aware of it and do what is best for you as a person, emotionally, psychologically, and physically, to be okay for you and your beloved ones. So that's the issue. Time management. It was at the beginning of the session that you mentioned this, avoiding burnout and using stress management techniques, seeking mentorship, of building a support system. What strategies work for you? That's my last question. And if you want to share your strategies, that would be very helpful for all of us. Okay. If there's is there a group for the student forum, Sri? Perhaps you, and I invite you to join ISME, to join our activities as well, and to communicate with each other, with all of you who want to share your contact information for others to connect. Please do so. And thank you, Mimi. Exercise to relief. stress. Yeah. And many others. So, just as a final note, I want to invite you all. We are working tirelessly to make this happen, a very successful and engaging conference in Montreal. It's going to be on July 26th to the 31st in 2026. So I hope to meet you all in person in Montreal. Please keep in touch and follow us in our social media pages, and so that we inform you promptly about the news and all the information related to the conference and future ISME events as well. So I hope you are take key takeaways from this session, and I will stop sharing. So if you want to add anything, if you want to, well, perhaps we don't have much time for questions. If you have to leave, I completely understand. And before closing the session, any other comments?
Well, first of all, in the name of the ISME student chapter, now called Student Forum, I would like to thank to Patricia for accepting these invitations, for spending the part of Saturday, afternoon, morning, night, who knows what it is in your time zone. In my case, it's evening. So, and thank you everybody who also accepted the student chapters or the student forum's invitation to come and listen. I think this was a very, very informative and very fun session for all of us. And if you have any questions or any remarks, then please ask Patricia on that session.
Thank you, Susanna. I was thanking everyone, but I missed the chat. So let me change this. And I was saying thank you to all of you. But well, any other comments now? I did not include my emails in the presentation. I will share these with you. If you want, anytime you want to contact me, please feel free to do so. This is my university email. And this is my personal email and my institutional email from as ISME president is right here. So I so look forward to hearing and seeing you hopefully in Montreal. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Susanna, and all the student forum members. Sri, say thank you to Hayden as well and all the members. Thank you, Ryan, for being here the whole session. And I just want to express my deep appreciation for my administrative team, Ryan, Sri, and Anya as well. Believe me, they are working tirelessly and very passionately, improving our processes, and they are keeping you informed through the social media. So thank you, Ryan, Sri, and Anaya, and thank you all. Have a blessed weekend. Looking forward to meeting you in person next time.